right, thank you very much, Juanis, for that very interesting presentation on trends. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this is part one of a four-part series. So if you have any questions regarding what we just discussed, please do type away. I hear that there are a lot of questions about very particular stocks, but we'll reserve that in the end portion. Let's first start with some interesting questions, sir, on
Okay.
your topic. The first one being that you mentioned that the price discounts everything. It
Yeah.
in this context, sir, how does fundamental analysis come into play? If it's already discounted by price, then why not just look at price?
Well, not everybody is a technician, and not everybody believes what I've just said. And
Okay.
the greater degree of the population really looks into looking at how earnings and how a company motivates itself, and that is the primary mover of things. In a sense,
Okay.
that is an advantage to us technicians because not too many people see what we see, and because of
Mm-hmm.
that also, it helps us being a little bit ahead of what the rest of the pack is doing. And so
Mm-hmm.
the other avenue also in answering that line of questioning is because um, it's really very hard to say what has been factored in or not, because we
Mm-hmm.
cannot see what knowledgeable people know,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
given that context, you might see something come out in the newspaper and it only came out then. So you might ask yourself, okay, am I the first to see this, or was it the reporter, or was it the lawyer who discussed it to them, or the insider in a
Mm-hmm.
company that discussed it with them? And so it's really very
Mm-hmm.
hard to try to see what is factored in. But like I said, what is factored in is what people know as of that date. Okay, things
Mm-hmm.
could
Okay.
change because if somebody finds a cure for a virus tomorrow, you probably
Mm-hmm.
see the market erupt into a very strong up move because nobody has factored that in yet.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, sir. So another very interesting question from one of our customers here, sir, especially when you were discussing the reversal of roles from
Yeah.
the former resistance to current support. Now,
Yep.
is the effectivity of technical analysis dependent on the market's familiarity with it, sir? Is it more
Um,
effective when more people are familiar with it, or
I guess I have to say yes and no.
okay,
But the more people who know technical analysis, I think the more difficult it will become. And the
okay,
reason is because instead of 10 people anticipating where support's going to be, you'll have 100,000 people anticipate where support would be. And they could all be buying there at the same time. And if they know that you're anticipating there, they could buy it higher. And so there are little inefficiencies that will carry it forward. So
hmm,
we're fortunate not too many people know technical analysis yet.
okay, that's great. Okay, another question, sir. It's a personal question I have, sir. As a
Yeah.
budding trader myself, no, and you mentioned that it's ideal to buy at the bounce of support, but FOMO is a reality, sir. It's really
Okay.
something pervasive. And now, how do you combat FOMO, sir? Eh, do you have any tips?
Yeah, well, if FOMO is the fear of missing out,
Yes,
that is
sir.
an
The fear of
emotion.
missing
That is an
out. Okay.
emotion. So how do you combat it? You need to build the discipline to fight it. And
Yes.
if you are glued to the rules of what technical analysis makes you do, then that is the best way for you to combat the emotion. Because I can't tell you, fighting emotion is one of the most difficult things to do. And because
Mm-hmm.
of that fear of missing out, and you want to be able to act ahead of everybody else because you think you're not going to get the price you want, you're more likely going to enter at the poor time rather at the ideal time, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
again, it's you
Mm-hmm.
not
Right.
following the discipline that's creating a problem here, because you think other people may buy it ahead of you and may not give you the price that you want. So it's
Okay.
really combating the emotional side, and that's something you're going to have to do over time.
Okay. Right, sir. We have a lot of customers also asking ahead with our session today. So they're already asking, sir, which is the more effective support and resistance? Is it the lines that you draw or the moving averages?
Okay.
Which do you assign
Well,
more
anyway,
importance
I
to?
can answer that already now. Anyway, for the meantime, I think this is the way you do it. As you learn the science, trust first whatever I say in the beginning, unless I overturn it later. All right, so for now, you don't know the moving average too well yet, but I will tell you, you could actually trust trend lines more than moving averages. The only
Okay.
difference is that in a trend line, you have to manually draw it. Whereas in a
Mm-hmm.
moving average, the system will just call it out. And it
Mm-hmm.
smooths a trend line from being too jagged, but because of that, it makes it less precise. So to
Mm-hmm.
me, I tend to trust my trend lines more than my moving averages because I know how to draw it anyway, right? For the newbie,
Mm-hmm.
maybe later draw first the moving averages because that might be better for you. It's instantaneous, and then you start drawing your trend lines right over your moving average, so you know which one to draw.
Mm-hmm. That's
Right?
right.
But trend lines tend to be more exact.
Okay. Okay, sir. Another more practical question from one of our customers.
Sure.
What do I, given our knowledge of technical analysis, what do I do in a losing stock that's more than 50% down, sir? What's your tip?
Technical analysis does not gauge the value of a loss.
Okay.
You are down 50% most likely because you did not follow the technical exit plan. And if you had
Mm-hmm.
done that, we would not be in this situation. But to
Mm-hmm.
answer your question, if your stock breaks another support now, I will sell it. So we
Okay.
have to be consistent with the program here. So if you've
Mm-hmm.
survived where you are right now and your stock is holding above support, then go ahead and hold it and wait for the rally to fill whatever it can and try to be able to redeem much of your loss. But if you're put
Mm-hmm.
in a situation that your supportive element is once again broken, we have to follow the technical rules if indeed you're following it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, sir. Let's now go through some stocks that they're asking. Perhaps we can use the subject we've
Starting
talked
up.
about today, no? So first,
Mhm.
they're asking about Ayala Corporation, sir.
Okay.
The the most basic question is, has it bottomed out already? Has Ayala bottomed out already?
Well, like I pointed out earlier on, let me just call Ayala Core out here. It looks like it has, and in
Mm-hmm.
my
Oh.
guess analysis, I would say that it has. But the question is, will it do a retest? In other words, it might be climbing strongly now, but maybe after finishing wherever it intends to, maybe up to here, you might see this thing cascade back up and try to connect somewhere like this, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
rally a little bit later. Oops, sorry.
Okay.
Maybe something like this. So it's something that you have to be prepared for, because I think after this rally, Ayala Core will come back down. I think it will make a higher low. So to answer your question, I think it has made the major bottom. However, there may be a support retest attempt, but I think a higher low will be delivered to you in due time.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Oh,
Okay.
another question, sir. Here, another part of the Ayala group is MWC, sir.
Yes.
Manila Water. The question is, uh, how do you describe that pattern in a technical point of view,
Okay.
according to one of our
So
customers?
in fact, if you were to be able to look at this chart, if you were to look where Ayala Corporation is right now, it's somewhere over here. Okay. So this is what
Mm-hmm.
I was saying. So later on, Ayala Core is going to do something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
after that, it'll make a higher low and then it'll make its next rebound.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to look at the big picture, this is what many of the stocks in the market will eventually have to go through after the rally. We're currently at this phase of some of it. Now, why is Manila Water different? The reason is because Manila Water fell much in advance than everybody else. So this was falling down even before the COVID-19 period. And it was falling down because of, well, everybody knows why. And because of this decline,
Mm-hmm.
it went through a trend condition much ahead of time than where we are today. So this is an example of what I call a W-like formation. And I'll draw it for you. That's this. So I think officially it's running to make a potential reversal, but it still has to confirm that by a break over 15 pesos. So that could be a
Mm-hmm.
potential target site for Manila water into the short term. So the first resistance will be 13 because I believe that's where the tender offer was made. And if somehow can push above that, the next level would be about 15 pesos. So that is the reversal pattern that you're looking at.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Another question is the former darling of everyone else. It's MPI, sir. Can you
Okay.
describe the technical condition of MPI?
All right. So if you remember my definition of what a downtrend is, and the definition says a downtrend shows lower highs and lower lows. So if I may just quickly draw the lows, right, and the highs. So if you notice the highs and lows are still heading down, this last rally that you saw is still much lower than the previous one. So what is MPI doing right now? MPI is making a downtrend rally. And resistance is closer to about 3 pesos, and is a reason why it got blocked here the other day. So unless 3 pesos can break, I would anticipate that this recovery rally that we're seeing will probably feel some resistance in that area. Or if we're lucky and it breaks, maybe slightly higher, which will be maybe, if not 3, maybe 305 or 306. And right now, that's all the best I can do right now until I can see a trend change.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's all the stocks we can talk about right now. Sir, last question, another very interesting one in the interest of time also.
Okay.
I think this is a speculative trader, sir. How can you take advantage of technical analysis in speculative, sir? Does it make it more risky or is it just the same? A customer is asking.
Well, the studies have to be fine-tuned. And the reason for that is because speculative stocks are less liquid, number one. That means it trades less volume. And because of that, it generates much more volatility. And the conditions of that volatility, to some traders, they enjoy all that volatility. But in easy sense, a speculative stock can easily go 10, 15, 20% in a day and could fall just as big. And so that particular type of conditioning will put a newbie trader into pretty big risk. So if you're going to be using technical analysis, you want to shorten the time frame. You cannot be using too long-term analysis into speculative stocks because the demand equation there can be very fleeting. It can appear tomorrow and disappear the very next day. So if I were trading a speculative stock, I will not be trading that in the medium to long term. It's purely short term. The minute I see that the momentum wanes or you see that there is absence of demand coming in, I get myself right out and I just wait for the next opportunity to come back inside. Second, I will only cast 10 or 20% of my volume in a stock. I will never put more in any of those issues on sizes that are of that very small nature. But you can use the same technical tools of what we've learned today.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. And again, thank you very much to everyone for attending this. Again, this is just part 1 of a 4-part series. If you want to go ahead and register for the part 2, which will happen on May 15, you can just take your phone and then just take a picture of this QR code right here, and it will route you directly to the bit.ly link that we also have in the screen, so you can register ahead of time.